Welcome to the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast, the show where ambition is celebrated, not silenced. Lori, Ann, and Angie are your hosts, and each week we dive into real, unfiltered conversations about women doing extraordinary things in their lives and in their businesses. Here we don't shrink to fit expectations or apologize for our success. We share stories that are inspiring, hilarious, and always authentic, because becoming unstoppable isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and join our community of women who know that no is a complete sentence and there are no limits to what we can achieve together. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast. Lori and I are so glad to be here today, and you might notice we are missing Ann. Ann is out moving mountains and changing the world, doing her thing, so we're cheering her on. But she will be joining us again very, very soon. Today we are going to be talking about one of those sticky subjects that as women we get passed down messages about, how we should behave, how we should show up, how we should present ourselves, and all of these things, and we tend to accept those because they come from, whether it's our parents, our grandparents, or teachers, or Sunday school, or wherever they come from. But because they come from people we know, like, and trust, we accept them. But maybe now that we are adults who are able to make discerning choices, view things a little bit differently, how we might make a little bit of a different choice. And so today, Lori and I are going to be talking about celebrating wins. And I don't know about you, Lori, but I know I was always taught that, yes, do your best. And should you win, that's fantastic, but don't talk about it. Be humble. Be humble.
Don't brag.
Don't brag. Yes.
Don't brag. Yes. And brag was a negative term. So yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, do you have any things like that have happened throughout your life where messages have been passed down to you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was always, be a lady, act like a lady. And those were always, don't scream, and I don't mean scream, but, don't yell, don't be too showy in public. What will the neighbors think? And, it's okay that you got, A's, but, don't brag and might hurt someone's feelings. So it was all about someone's feelings and, being a good little girl and all that fun stuff. And I went to Catholic grade schools and high schools. So that was kind of, um, push what's the word I'm looking for, just like we just absorbed it.
It was ingrained in your
It was
teaching.
ingrained. Thank you. That was the word I was looking for. And wasn't as bad in high school, but definitely in grade school. Well, no, I would have to say in high school too. I could tell you a few things that we did that we got in trouble for because it wasn't ladylike.
Oh, those are the best.
I know.
Yeah, and my dad, one of my dad's top values is humility, and I respect that, and I do. There is a fine line between celebrating your wins and bragging, just like there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. There's a fine line within a lot of things, but humility, that's fine, and it's biblical, and there's different kinds of things. But one time, and this happened whenever I got my first year in business, I got Ohio's Small Business of the Year, which was a huge accomplishment and
Yes.
I something that I was very proud of. I had no idea. I literally had no idea. And I showed up to this luncheon and I saw my dad and my husband and my friends there. And I was like, why are you at this luncheon? And they're like, oh, we just thought it'd be fun to come. And my dumbass, I had literally had no idea. And so, but I had to sit at another table because they told me that's where I was supposed to sit. I had my little name tag and they were all sitting at another table and they've all got, smiles on their face like the cat that ate the canary. And I'm still clueless. And so then the luncheon went on and I was presented with this award and I was blown shocked, like literally shocked. And so then, but what's interesting is then my dad pulled me aside afterwards and he was like, now obviously you can't brag about this. And I was like, I want to shout it from the mountaintops.
Yes,
Like,
yes. And
I
you
want to tell, I wanted to tell everybody, like I was so honored and so
should.
it just, oh my gosh. And so I thought about it for a while and I don't know how long it was because this was back in 2014. So it was a minute ago, but so I thought about it for a while and I went to my dad because another one of my dad's top values is truth, like telling the
Mm.
truth. He is so, oh, that is something he is a big stickler on. And I mean, as am I, but he really is.
Yeah.
And so I said, Dad, I said, I've really been thinking about because I said, I'm in business and I would love to be
Yeah.
able to share that I got this accolade with in my marketing because it's a big deal. And he was like, no, like basically like no. And I was like, what do you
Wow.
mean no? And I said, well, Dad, I said, here's my thought on it. If it's true, why can't I say it? I had him. I had him.
Ah.
And he was like, I had him. I found the loophole.
Yeah. Gotta love the loopholes.
Yes. And he said, you're right. And I said, you've always taught me I can say whatever I want as long as it's true. And obviously not to hurt other people, even if it's true.
Right.
And we had that conversation too. But I said, this is true. So why can't I say it? And I said, I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it to add credibility to my business, to showcase like I'm not just some fly by night business coach who,
Right.
came blowing in from in on the tornado and I'm going to be out with the next, right?
Right, right.
So he changed his tune a little bit. And so now he is very accepting whenever I share stuff. So,
Good, good. Yeah,
yeah,
and not only that, but it inspires other women. And again, it's there's that difference between saying, "Hey, I got this," or and like, look at me, I'm the best, I'm the best." I mean, that's the difference between bragging and acknowledging your accomplishments.
yeah,
And we have to acknowledge those accomplishments. I mean, even if it's something small, even if it's something small. I mean, I'm working on getting back into better morning routines. And, and so I'm giving myself pats on the back when I
yeah,
do what I want to do because it's difficult making changes in habits, things you've been
mhm,
doing for years that now you want to shift. Well, it's not easy. It's difficult to do it. So
right.
I give myself pats on the back. I'm not shouting it on the rooftops because it's not a small business award, but
Well,
it's a different thing. But
hey,
at the same time, it's it's helping me to feel good about when I've accomplished something, even if it's something small.
yes. And I think about how that translates to how, the women who you're serving through your program. And it's like, look, I'm making those small shifts in my life, even though it's challenging and difficult, and so you're being a role model for them and giving them permission to, because don't we want our
Yes,
clients to celebrate their wins whenever they have
absolutely.
them? So if we're not celebrating our own wins, then we're being hypocritical, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a very good point. I think it does help endear my clients to me because they also know that I struggle as well. I'm not perfect. Even though my mother thought I was, I'm not perfect.
I love that.
Until she found out I skipped church and that whoa. And she knew I was a rebel.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm not perfect. I don't want to be labeled perfect. I'm human, and I'm going to admit I'm human. I'm going to admit when I make mistakes, and I'm also going to celebrate when my book gets published next year. I'm going to shout it on the rooftops.
100%. And I'm going to be shouting alongside of you. That's awesome.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think we need to give ourselves credit for those things.
Yeah. And I'm sure you teach, we have different coaching. We do different types of coaching, but you also coach women in business. And so I'm sure you also encourage them to celebrate.
100%. I mean, that's part of their weekly success work is to celebrate those small wins. And I have my program is set up that they get wins every single week. And
Mhm.
I want my clients to get in practice of celebrating and acknowledging what you have accomplished, because if it were
Yes.
easy, everybody would do it, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
change is not easy. I mean, there's,
Mhm.
you know, there's a spectrum of change, but when we're talking about, like Lori and shifting your inner joy, like if you're carrying something that's very heavy and
Mhm.
it's cumbersome and it's holding you down, and making that, it's a huge shift to having that inner peace, having that inner joy, and having that light shine out versus
Mhm.
something that's being an anchor holding you back. And Lori has such a beautiful way of helping women make that transformation. But once again, it's not easy. And so each and every time a woman works with Lori, they walk away and they're a little bit lighter. Celebrate that win. Their
Aw,
light shines a little
thank
bit
you.
brighter. Celebrate that win. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
more days, where they went from 7 days of to now they're only down to 5 days of that. And in 2 days, they're like, ah, celebrate that.
Yes, exactly, exactly, exactly. It's funny. I'm in a couple of uh, you know, what do you call them? Programs, I guess, but for spirituality and stuff like that. And at the beginning, they always ask, what do you celebrate this week? What are you celebrating? And there have been times when I've been like, I don't even know because I wasn't looking at the small things. I'm always looking at the big. I was looking at the big things, Well, nobody's going to think this is a celebration, but I've started just saying, like last week, and I was just like, I just feel so happy today. I just feel so happy today. And that's a celebration. Why? Because with all the negativity in the world, sometimes it's hard to just be
Mm,
joyful
yes.
today.
Mm,
So, but and also brag about being, and it's not bragging, but yes, tell people when you have done something amazing, whatever amazing is to you.
yes. Right. Exactly. Yes.
You
We
know,
don't need to accept other people's definitions of anything.
right, right, right. Because even in work, I'm thinking back to when I was in corporate, and I I don't think I ever said anything like, "Oh, hey, I did." XYZ, I got that client installed in no time flat, everything's working perfectly. I don't think I ever like came back to the office and said stuff like that.
Mhm.
We had to write up, our, what we did our for the week, but and even when in our group meetings, I'm recalling, and I'm almost embarrassed to say this, that I would be a little embarrassed if someone said, "Oh, and Lori, you did a great job." And I'd be like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm just doing my job." We do that. And
Mhm.
I'm looking back and I'm like, well, that was, the guys don't say, "Oh, I'm just doing my job."
Right?
But we do. And it's
Yes.
crazy. It's
Yes.
crazy.
You bring up such a good point, Lori. When it comes to someone giving us a compliment and acknowledging, so even if we haven't acknowledged it, they've acknowledged it because they've witnessed it or experienced it or whatever, and how we're taught to, oh, you know, and not
Yeah.
really, it's almost like you're rejecting their compliment.
Mhm.
And so I have learned, because I realized what happens is, you're actually doing their words a disservice. They want to celebrate with you, and
Ah.
you're rejecting that by
Oh.
playing small and minimizing it and say, "I was just," because that minimizes it. Just by saying "I was just," or "it's only," and
Mm.
you're just minimizing it. And it's like, so you're robbing them of their joy of wanting to celebrate with you,
Mm.
as you're playing small, because that's what we've been taught, right? And it's like, oh, and we're supposed to be embarrassed when someone
Yes.
gives us a compliment. Ah,
Yes.
I reject.
Yes.
Oh, when someone gives me a compliment, I'm like, I
Mm.
appreciate your kind words. That really means a lot to me. And, just something like that. I mean, it doesn't, or, oh my gosh, that is so sweet. Thank you so much for
Mm.
recognizing me. Just something like that.
Yeah.
And how much more that feeds into them, rather than
Yes.
rejecting what they're saying. It's like, I accept you're not necessarily saying these words, but I accept what you say, and I'm
Right.
appreciative. It means something,
Right.
that you noticed or recognized, or
Yeah.
even just celebrating alongside of me.
I love that you say that because I never thought of it that way. I never thought of it as I'm almost, yeah, like I'm rejecting their, like I don't believe them. But it is a negative energy, and I never looked at it that way. But that is
Yeah.
so true,
Mhm.
that we're not giving them the honor we should for their, as you say, kind words.
Yeah. And they,
Ah.
and people wouldn't say it if they didn't mean it. I mean, there's always some jerks in the world, but 99% of the time, they are genuinely happy for you. They're genuinely celebrating alongside of you, and they genuinely want to acknowledge whatever it is that you have accomplished, whatever win it is. And to me, a win is a win. I don't give it
Mhm.
a weight or a level or a continuum. That's just for me. A win is a win. Like, there
Yeah,
are some days that it winning is just showing up even though I don't feel like it.
exactly.
Totally
Exactly.
fine. But
Yeah.
to me, that's no bigger than, getting, when I became the top 500 global influencer in 2024. Um, to me, they're on equal footing, because a win for me, a win is a win, and sometimes showing up is a win. I'm going
Mhm.
into a meeting this afternoon, and keeping my mouth shut will be a win.
For whom? I don't think it's going to be a win, and honestly, it's probably not even going to be a win for that committee or group because you have a lot of wisdom.
Whew, it's going to be an adversarial meeting, and I have, and I choose this. I choose that if I don't have anything productive to say that's going to move the conversation forward, I choose to remain quiet. And
Mm.
some people interpret that very different. Like Angie's pouting, and it's like, oh, no, 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 I'm not pouting. I'm actually saving you from me because my words are going to have a lashing behind them, and you're an idiot, and I'm going to tell you that. So, you
I'm
know,
glad I'm not in that meeting.
it's not going to be pretty. And I've already, plus, there has been, I will say, probably about, when I tell you, about 50 email exchanges where I have already
Oh
laid out
no.
everything that I have to say. There's nothing more for me to say. And but I purposely put it in writing because my words were getting, twisted and such. And so those types of things happen. And so sometimes we just have to look at a win as I'm going to show up and I'm just going to sit there and I'm just going to let them say what they say. And I've said my piece and that's okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Sometimes it's difficult to hold your tongue and yes, yeah. I've been in those situations where I'm with the client and the sales rep, and the sales rep is not being 100% truthful. And I'm like, I can't say anything right now. I wait till we get to the office and then
Yes.
I can say what, yes, but smile and nod. And I've been told by clients that gosh, Lori, you remain so calm. And when I'm trying to figure something out, it inside, and I can feel my insides just like screaming, but they're like, "You're so calm." I'm like, "Thank you." I never say I don't feel calm, but I'm thinking, I don't feel calm at all, but thank you. I gotta
You're,
stay, I gotta remain calm
and
to
that's a
get
win, right? Like
the
just
win. That's a win.
you're like the duck, that just goes so smoothly over water, but underneath,
Exactly, exactly. Oh, exactly. Yes, yes. But I do have to admit, and if this has been an awareness I've had over the last several months, that, like what you were saying earlier, I do oftentimes think, oh, they're just saying that. They're
mm,
just saying that. And I think it does come from my childhood, but yeah, so that awareness, I mean, it's the awareness helps.
yeah,
Um and yeah, and they're probably not just saying that. Like you said, some people might just be saying that, but others aren't.
yeah,
Most people aren't just saying that. And I have to I'm embracing that. Um
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there's a small percentage of people who are just jerks, and they give those backhand, yeah, congratulations, it's this backhanded compliment. Oh, you won again. Oh, okay, shocker. You know, like, that happens, and
Yeah.
um, but most of the time people are very genuine, they're very
Yes.
sincere, and I think if they, especially if it's written, like if they've taken the time to comment on a post or send an email, shoot a text, something like that, they're choosing to spend those moments saying something, acknowledging your win. And so to me, they wouldn't do that if they weren't sincere.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you think about that, Lori?
It's a mindset shift. So, I mean, it really is because, and I think part of it is, and don't get me wrong, I love my mother. I loved my mother. She was an amazing mom. She was always there for us. But there were certain things, we all have our certain things, right?
Oh yeah. Yep.
And I just remember her talking to like a neighbor and who well, it's a long story, but talking to a neighbor and saying nice things to her. And then when we get home, she's like, not all that nice. She's not saying all those nice things.
Mm-hmm.
It's So yeah, I think that's kind of part of what's going on in my brain is,
Mhm.
I grew up and she didn't do it all the time, but it was often enough that it just kind of stuck, evidently, because that's my thought
Mhm.
process. So,
Yeah. Well, and how many times, I mean, do we talk with women who they're concerned about putting themselves out there because what will people think? What will the neighbors think?
mm,
Well, if I take this leap and I really put myself out there and I'm vulnerable, what will people think?
yeah.
And I think that it also, I think gets ingrained to us on based on messages that we've been taught about how girls and women are supposed to behave. And we're not supposed to be to anything, TOO. We're not supposed to be
Right.
to TOO anything. We're just supposed
Yes.
to be. And it's like, okay, I reject that like in the biggest way possible because I'm to a lot of things, but that's just part of my personality. And um and so but for some women, it's been ingrained in them. It's been something that, and it's like, and I don't want to, like, what, if I step out and I don't want to embarrass my family or anything, or I don't want to have to reveal anything. I had a client, I'll share a story that will bring this whole point home. She I had a client who she was in corporate. Well, she still is in corporate, but she had a side hustle and she was so passionate about women's skincare and taking good care of their skin. And she was so passionate about it, and how, if because this is something she learned, her target market was women who were working on looking good on the outside so that they could then internalize that from the inside. So their confidence was, for a lot of women, their confidence comes from the inside out. But for her and her clients, the confidence was coming from the outside in, but not from people. It was from the messages that they tell themselves in the mirror, and looking at, like, I showed up today and I have my full face on and I'm dressed in a way that's comfortable yet is complimentary, and how that builds your confidence. So she had a very unique
Yes.
niche. And so she was scared to death to do lives. And I said, Lori, if you're not comfortable doing lives, she's like, I want to challenge myself. And I said, okay. And I said, but if and she would physically shake, like, she
Oh,
just the thought
wow.
of doing lives, because she was so worried about what people would think. She trembled, and we met in person because she was someone local. And so her first live, I still can't even believe this happened, but it did. Her first live that she did, she was just terrified. And I was right alongside of her. Um, and I said, I'm going to be there alongside of you for support. I'm going to be cheering you on. I don't want you to do this alone, blah, blah, blah. And some man jerkhole who she didn't even know has said, you can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig.
Oh
And
my
I was
God.
like, are you effing kidding me?
Oh my God.
So you can imagine how this impacted her, right?
Oh, yes.
We had to do a lot of unpacking and a lot of processing and a lot of
Yes.
working through that. And so she wasn't able to celebrate the win. She wasn't able to even recognize that it was a win at all, even though it was a huge win, that she did it anyway. She showed up
Yes.
anyways. So now, fast forward, this was probably around like 2015, 2016. Now she's doing live, she's rocking it, she's killing it, she's moved past that. But it's a stunt. I'm like, why? And why would that guy say he didn't know her from
Yeah,
Adam? And why
exactly.
he felt the need to say that, just, oh my goodness. I sat there with her and I said, delete that comment right now.
Oh,
I
yeah,
said,
yeah.
delete it. I said, I do not want you going back and rereading it. I said, yes, it's here. We can't get rid of it here. But you don't need to reinforce it by always going back and reading it,
Exactly.
that type
Delete
of thing.
it, block that person. Yes.
Yes.
Maybe even report them. Like, although I
I mean,
guess it wouldn't do much, but
yeah.
yeah,
So anyhow,
that's
but
sad.
so those things do happen. And but it's how do we allow that person to rob us of the joy of the win,
Yeah.
or do we continue to show up? Do we continue to celebrate the wins? And it's like, yes, it was hurtful. I felt her hurt. I mean, it was
Oh, yeah.
palpable.
Oh,
And
yeah.
but she was able to work through it, but it took a minute. And and so sometimes that because then on here we talk about real life things, so we
Yep.
we don't want to say that every time you celebrate a win it's always going to be yay, high five, yay, atta girl,
Right.
because you could have somebody say you can put lipstick on a pig but it's still a pig,
Yeah.
you
And
know
there,
um
yeah. And there are trollers out there. I mean, they just,
oh
but there's so much negativity in the world sometimes that, people just feel like it's the thing to do sometimes. And it's not the thing to do, and it's
no,
not helping the world any. But that's just that stuff like that is so sad. And
so
I
sad.
have to feel sorry. Part of me has to feel sorry for that person who
Yes.
wrote it, because how angry and what's the word I'm looking for? Just how angry and sad must you
Yeah.
be in
Yep.
order to publicly do that? I mean, it's sad.
And how ugly he must have felt. That's something that
Yeah.
Lori and I talked about. It's like he must feel so ugly on the inside. Or
Yes.
maybe he feels ugly on the outside too. I don't know, because I have no
Right.
clue who this guy is. And and how sad it is that that is the
Yes.
space that he is sitting in, and then for him to project that onto you,
Yeah.
and rob you of that joy, of that accomplishment, of that
Yeah.
win. And I said,
Yeah.
don't give him that power. Don't
No.
let him steal this moment from
No.
you. And like I said, now she's killing it, and it's all good. But
Good.
what a tough thing. But so the point is you might have those moments. Like my dad
Yeah.
saying, oh, you won this award, but
Don't say anything.
don't, yeah,
Yeah.
tuck it away. And I have it literally. I'm sitting here looking at it right now. It's still hanging on my wall, literally right here.
Yay.
And because it was huge. And
Yeah.
I'm honored that I was chosen out of all the new small businesses that had started. And this girl from Amish country, how the hell that happened, I still don't know. But it is. I have the plaque to prove it.
It happened because you deserve it.
Well, yes, and thank you for
Yes.
that. Somebody saw something in me, and I'm grateful for that. And yeah, so give yourself the credit, acknowledge those things. And
Yes.
if you're feeling good, like Lori, how you were saying, I'm just feeling good today, I'm just
Yep.
feeling happy today, and you
Yep.
take a selfie and you put that out there, and you go, life is today's a good day for a good day, and I'm just feeling good.
Yes.
That that's
Yes.
you're sharing your joy.
Yeah.
And you never know who might need to hear that message, who might need to see that message, who might be like, oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear today, Lori, thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah.
And so how many opportunities do we rob other people of by staying quiet,
Mhm.
by not celebrating, by not sharing?
And
We're robbing.
I may just do that once we get off this, because I felt so good this morning. I didn't do my hair. I didn't do any makeup. I'm just wearing what I usually wear when I'm sitting at my desk, because this is me, and I felt it important to
Yes,
be me in
yes,
the today. And just, I mean, I'm always me on these
sure,
things, but
right.
it just this just felt right today, and it fit me today. And so I'm happy to to just be me and like, yeah. So
Show up unapologetically authentic
authentic.
today.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Anne's the polished one of the group. You
Yes,
ladies, I mean,
yes.
she's the one, and she's the polished one, but that's her, you know.
Right.
And Lori and I mean, who knows what my hair might be doing? I could have my Monchi hair going on. I could, whatever I got going on here. I am on the hunt for a hairdresser. It is not easy, let me tell you. But anyhow, so you never know. And Lori, just you showing up today,
Mm.
being unapologetically unstoppable
Yeah,
you, all of your authentic
yeah,
self, it's
yeah.
beautiful. It's
And
beautiful.
and I think that's what our clients love about us too is we're not putting on airs. We're not,
No.
we're just because if I'm putting on airs and oh, look at me, then I'm not going to attract my ideal client because
Right.
my ideal client is someone like me. And I don't like that stuff. I don't like the look at me kind of attitude. I want somebody who's real. If I'm going to work with somebody, I want somebody who's real and I
That,
know is real and I can trust that they're real so that when I am celebrating a win, they're not just saying, oh, good job, Lori, and then thinking, no, well, that wasn't a win at all, you know? So
yeah, I
it's
love
important to
that.
celebrate your wins.
Yes. And if Anne was on, I feel confident what she'd be saying right now is, and it's always a crapshoot whether or not I have pants on. And so you'll just have to guess if I have pants on today or not, because that's how authentic I show up.
So if they guess correctly in the comments, is that a win?
Yes, that's a win. Oh, Anne loves to point that out. It's like, is she or is she not wearing pants? Hmm?
You never
What do,
know.
what do you think, audience? But
Oh,
that's
too
the
funny.
beauty of what we talk about. It's real life, like it's real
Yes.
life things. And that we hopefully will open up a dialogue, because we'd love to hear from you. Like, what are the
Mhm.
messages that you were told that, because for a long time I accepted my dad's humility.
Sure.
I
Sure.
just
He's your
accepted,
dad.
it was my dad. My hero, the person I looked up to the most in my life, still to this day. And but when I found that loophole, you better believe ran through
That's right.
it. Because although I wanted to honor and respect him, there was still a piece of me that was like, something's not right. Like, I just
Yeah.
don't understand. And so, what are those moments for you, ladies? Like, we'd love to hear those messages, and perhaps you might still be accepting those messages, and but maybe you're in that stage or season where you are saying, maybe I don't want to accept that message anymore, or something. We'd love to hear
Mhm. Yes.
where you're at with that.
Yes, yes. And or if someone is complimenting you, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you have to, hide and maybe say, oh, you're just saying that. Or you're like, thank you, I appreciate it. You made my day. Because it's a whole different energy. Whole different
Yes.
energy.
100%. Yeah. And hopefully today, listeners, that you had maybe some food for thought, and maybe you can find your own loophole
Ah,
to go through. And, we hope that your thinking has adjusted. And, you know, um, if it's true, celebrate the win, talk about it, share it with people, allow people you're gifting them the opportunity to celebrate with you, to share in your joy. And perhaps, like when Lori's book comes out, not only am I going to be sharing in her joy, I'm going to spread the joy by saying, my friend wrote this book and you should buy, or is co-author of this book, you should buy it, or no, you're
it's
doing your own book.
it's yes,
Yes,
it's my own book.
yes, Yes, it's
Yes.
someone else who I know who's doing a chapter in a book. So it's yeah. So I'm going to be shouting it from the mountaintops and say, do this. And
Mhm.
um I just did that for someone. She wrote a book for a very niche, for real estate agents, and so I went in, my pulled out my Rolodex, and to every real estate agent who I'm connected to, I'm like, look, my friend wrote this book. I think it would be really great, for you, a good learning opportunity, and blah 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 blah. And you wouldn't believe all the thank you for thinking of me. That was so sweet that you thought of me. Thank you for sharing. I'm definitely going to look into this. And so if we're not talking about our wins and our celebrations, like if I wasn't having that conversation with Cheryl, I would have never been able to spread her joy and share her joy with other people.
Right.
And so I think it's I just see a lot of talk about wins, lots of wins. It's just a win-win-win for everyone. It's a win for Cheryl because I shared her message. It's a win for the real estate agents because I showed
Yes.
them a resource that they weren't previously familiar with. And it's a win for me because I love to elevate women and showcase women in business. And it's a joy for me. It brings me joy to be able to do
Mhm.
that. So it's a win 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 all the way around. So if we're
Yep.
quiet and we just hold ourselves small and we don't talk about it, then we have robbed all of that joy. We've not
Yes.
given that joy the opportunity
Yes.
to shine.
Yeah, and all kinds of spiritual leaders, and even some physics is pointing to what you put out in the world comes back to you.
Yes.
So if you want to stay small, you're going to stay small.
Yes.
And if you want to have joy in your life, you've got to give joy. So if you want money in your life, you need to have that healthy attitude of money and be free. And I hate to say be free with it because you still have to be um you still have to be wise
Wise.
about it.
Yes. Yes.
But if you've got your $1 million in your well, and then you don't need any money, but if you've got it hidden in your mattress, and you're fearful of losing whatever it is, that fear goes out into the world and it comes back to you. So that's really what it is. It's that fear of
Mhm.
losing something or not having something. Um, so yeah, as Angie was saying, send the joy out, let it come back to you. And
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep. I just scheduled a post this morning about the ripple effects that we
Mm,
have, by dropping a stone. And, whatever that
yeah.
stone is, by dropping that stone, it comes back to us in waves. So the more
Mhm.
joy we project out, the more joy comes back to us. And that's with anything. When we're generous in giving, we're generous in getting. And it starts,
Yes.
and so celebrate those wins, talk about those
Yeah.
wins, share those wins. And for one, we would love to celebrate with you. So if
Yes,
you have some wins,
absolutely.
let us help you shout them from the mountaintops.
Absolutely.
We would gladly be able to do that for you. And that would be a gift to us if you awarded us the ability to be able to do that for you. It would be a huge gift.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, well, Lori, this has been a great conversation.
Yeah. I'm
I hope,
energized.
yes, super energized, and hope, ladies, I hope that you took away some aha moments, and that we, just put a little ripple into your life so that it will come back in a wave. Um, Drop us notes. We'd love to hear, as I call them, all the things
Yes.
and the things. We would love to hear that. We'd love to celebrate with
Yes.
you. And yeah, so until next time, this is the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Unapologetically Unstoppable Women podcast. If today's conversation fired you up, inspired you, or made you laugh out loud, don't forget to hit subscribe and share this episode with another unstoppable woman in your life. Remember, you don't have to apologize for your ambition, and you never have to shrink to fit someone else's expectations. Keep showing up, keep breaking barriers, and keep living life on your own terms. Until next time, stay unapologetic, stay unstoppable.